Oh, you thought Hollywood was sleeping this week. Honey, no, it's wide awake, sipping its oat milk latte, and watching the mess unfold like it's the season finale of the most scandalous reality show you've ever seen. Picture it, Alicia Keys, the queen of keeping it classy, allegedly throwing furniture, deleting IG posts faster than you can say no one, and demanding answers from Swizz Beatz, her man, her muse, her now ex. And why? Because the streets, the blogs, and apparently half of Instagram are whispering no, screaming that Swizz has traded in Girl on Fire for girl in the VIP section. And that girl just so happens to be Lala Anthony. Yes, that Lala, the one who already knows her way around a public scandal or two. Now, you might be asking, could this be the ultimate case of how you get M is how you lose M? Is karma really showing up in 6-inch stilettos, sipping champagne, and waving at Alicia from Swizz's passenger seat? Or is this all just smoke, mirrors, and a few conveniently leaked DMs? Buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you makes Empire look like a Sunday school play. And trust me, the tea. It's boiling, so here's where the story gets juicier than a peach in July. And trust me, you are not ready for this because we all know Alicia Keys as the Queen of Grace, the barefoot piano goddess who could make even the toughest gangster tear up with. Fallon, but behind that glowing smile and those zen Instagram captions, there is a storm that not even her best piano ballad could calm, and at the center of it is none other than her husband, Swizz Beatz. A man whose track record with women could fill a gossip blog for a year straight, and now the whispers in the street claim that his latest distraction is not just any woman but Lala Anthony, yes, the same. Lala, who has smiled on red carpets with Alicia posed for friendly photos and shared cozy girls' night moments, yet, according to so-called insiders, has allegedly been carrying on something far more intimate with Swizz for years. And the way this rumor first broke is almost too perfectly dramatic to believe because it allegedly started with a DM from someone claiming to work in Swizz's camp, who wrote to a gossip page saying that the two have been more than friends for years, but have kept it quiet to avoid blowing up the tabloids. And in this message, the person even described their supposed morning ritual where Swizz posts something on Instagram. And seconds later, Lala is in the comments with heart emojis, inside jokes, and cryptic one-liners, the kind that sound harmless to strangers but to someone watching closely scream familiarity. And if that was not enough, the source claimed Alicia herself noticed the pattern and confronted Swizz, telling him to calm down because it was starting to look obvious to her that something was going on. And what makes this more than just a spicy rumor is that it is not the first time such stories have circulated, because blind items have hinted for years about a mystery muse in Swizz's life, and those who can read between the lines believe Lala was the shadow in the background all along. And that is why even casual fans of celebrity news started connecting the dots and asking questions, because this is not just another tabloid love triangle. This is Alicia's friend allegedly stepping into her marriage, and history shows that Swizz has been in messy situations before. Remember his marriage to Mashonda when he was still living in the same house with her, and yet allegedly involved with Alicia, already the same way the rumor now paints him with. Lala, the overlap, the secrecy, the quiet denial while the whispers grow louder. And if you think that part was complicated, just remember Swizz has never been the poster boy for loyalty, with reports over the years of flings of children born during overlapping relationships and all kinds of messy receipts that fans dig up whenever a new scandal hits. So when people saw the Lala rumors, many said this was just history repeating itself, but this time with a twist because it allegedly involves someone Alicia herself once considered close. And when you mix that with the already public cracks in Lala's own marriage to Carmelo Anthony, the story starts sounding like a script no one in Hollywood could have written better, because while Carmelo's infidelities made headlines with rumors of outside children, Lala kept her cool in public, even saying in interviews that if her husband cheated, she would not be with him. And yet the whispers now suggest that around the same time, She might have been quietly forming her own connection with Swizz and the alleged timeline. Paints it like this: while Carmelo's scandals were unfolding, Lala and Swizz were in touch, building a closeness that only deepened after. Lala filed for divorce, and according to these unverified whispers, she even pushed Swizz to leave Alicia and make things official. But unlike in the past, Swizz was not ready to blow up his marriage, and here is where the drama deepens. Because insiders claim that Alicia at first believed Swizz's denials when she confronted him that she trusted his claims that nothing was going on, but everything shifted when she allegedly found concrete proof, and whatever she saw was enough that people in their circle noticed. Her energy changed, and behind the scenes things became tense, and while they publicly celebrated their anniversary, the vibe in private was reportedly far from romantic, and it is not lost on fans that this kind of story feels like karma. Since many still remember Mashanda's open letter to Alicia years ago, accusing her of being involved with Swizz, while Mashanda was still married to him and living in the same home. Mashanda wrote about trying to have a woman-to-woman talk with Alicia to ask her to step back, but said Alicia did not respond and continued the relationship. And that history has fueled the public perception that what is happening now is a reversal of roles, that the way a relationship begins might be the way it ends, and while Alicia has long insisted her relationship with Swizz began after his separation, the timelines in the gossip world have never fully matched, and fans who hold on to those receipts are quick to say this Lala story feels like dossier vu, and the irony is almost cinematic, because just as Mashanda was left to pick up the pieces and co-parent gracefully, Alicia might now be facing her own public test of composure. And yet the real kicker is that the rumors do not stop at emotional closeness. There are claims of a leaked video that allegedly shows Swizz and Lala in a setting. That is hard to explain away, and though nothing has surfaced publicly, the mere mention has kept the internet buzzing with speculation over what could be on it and if it would be the final straw that shatters the image of their marriage. And while no one knows if such footage even exists, the threat of it hangs over the narrative like a ticking clock. And in this atmosphere, every Instagram post, every public appearance, every subtle unfollow becomes a clue for people hunting for confirmation. And what makes it even more sensational is how both Swizz and Lala have handled it. Because rather than staying silent, Swizz posted a playful reference to Alicia's song Lala, writing that this is the only Lala I am rocking with, which fans took as either a clever deflection or sarcastic confirmation, depending on whose side you are on. And the internet, being the internet, did not let that slide. Screenshots were shared, comments dissected, and threads filled with theories until the whole thing took on a life of its own. And whether any of it is true almost does not matter anymore, because the perception is already cemented in the minds of those watching. And in the world of celebrity reputations, sometimes perception is the only truth that counts. The buzz only grew wilder when whispers began circulating about a secret weekend getaway that allegedly put the final crack in Alicia's trust, because according to these so-called insiders, Swizz and Lala were both spotted in the same luxury resort in the Bahamas. Though they never posted photos together, sharp-eyed fans noticed matching backgrounds in there Instagram stories: the same infinity pool, the same sunset, the same white sand stretching into the horizon. And while casual followers might have shrugged it off, the gossip crowd immediately began piecing together timestamps, flight records, and even alleged sightings from hotel staff who claimed the two were seen enjoying private dinners and disappearing into the same villa late at night. And what made this so damning in the court of public opinion was that Alicia at the very same time was reportedly in Los Angeles filming a special performance, looking radiant on camera, while the internet speculated that her husband was living out a vacation fantasy behind her back. And if you think Alicia's friend sat quietly, you would be wrong, because another so-called anonymous source claimed that a member of her inner circle tipped her off before she saw the online chatter, and that this warning hit her like a lightning bolt, because it was one thing to hear rumors from strangers, but another to get the same story from someone she trusts. And while Alicia has always projected an image of calm. Her reaction, according to these whispers, was anything but serene, and the insiders alleged that there was a heated confrontation in their New York penthouse when she demanded answers from Swizz. And instead of flat-out denying it, he supposedly flipped the script, accusing her of being paranoid and insecure, and obsessed with tabloid lies, which allegedly left her stunned and speechless. And that argument became the beginning of a quiet separation. Not the kind where lawyers are called in immediately, but the kind where two people start living in the same home as strangers, avoiding each other at events, barely speaking unless absolutely necessary, and the paparazzi photos from the following weeks seemed to add fuel to the fire, because in some shots, Swizz appeared out in public looking relaxed, even joyful, while Alicia's expression seemed distant, guarded, and far from the love-struck appearances they once made. And the timing could not have been worse, because Alicia had just been gearing up for a new album release. A moment that should have been about music and celebration, but was now overshadowed by whispers of betrayal and humiliation. And to make things even more dramatic, the rumor mill claimed that Lala herself was making subtle moves that felt like taunts to some observers, posting cryptic captions about choosing happiness and living your truth, wearing outfits eerily similar to ones Alicia had worn in past red carpet appearances, and even appearing in interviews with a sly smile when asked about her love life, refusing to confirm or deny anything and leaving the audience to wonder. And as this story picked up traction, fans began digging through old photos of Alicia and Lala together, pointing out side glances and body language that now seemed suspicious in hindsight. And it was not long before hashtags started trending, demanding the truth from all parties, and online debates exploded, with some people calling Lala a hypocrite for allegedly doing to Alicia what she once criticized Carmelo for doing to her, while others claimed Alicia was simply getting a taste of her own medicine. And the drama did not stop there, because according to yet another so-called insider, Alicia allegedly began quietly meeting with a divorce attorney, though she has not filed anything publicly. And these meetings, according to whispers, were about protecting her assets, making sure that if this went public and messy, she would not be left blindsided. And people close to her supposedly advised her to start separating her finances just in case Swizz decided to play hardball. And this is where things started to take on a financial twist, because the same insiders claimed that Swizz had been making some questionable investments in recent months, moving money into ventures that some called risky and others flat out called a way to hide assets. And though there is no proof of any wrongdoing, the narrative in the gossip world was that Swizz might be preparing for a legal battle long before Alicia even makes the first move. And while all this legal and financial plotting was supposedly happening behind the scenes, the public face of the story got even messier when a gossip page posted what they claimed were screenshots of flirty text messages between Swizz and Lala, filled with pet names, inside jokes, and what appeared to be plans to meet up in secret. And though skeptics were quick to point out that screenshots can be faked, the fact that they spread like wildfire across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok meant that for many people, the damage was already done. And this is the danger of celebrity scandal. Once the public believes it, the burden of proof shifts and silence starts to look like guilt. And in this case, the silence from all three parties was deafening, because while Alicia continued to post serene piano videos and motivational quotes, she never directly addressed the rumors. Swizz stuck to promoting music and art projects, and Lala carried on smiling for the cameras as if nothing was wrong. And yet their actions, or lack thereof, became their loudest statements, because people interpreted every move, every caption, every public appearance as a clue to the truth. And perhaps the most chilling moment in all of this was when a reporter at a red carpet event tried to ask Lala about the Swizz rumors, and instead of walking away, she leaned in, smiled, and said no comment, with a tone that to some sounded playful and to others sounded like a quiet confirmation. And that one moment was clipped, shared, and replayed millions of times with captions like she knows exactly what she's doing, and now the story is not just about an alleged affair, but about a public chess game between three powerful and image-conscious celebrities, each one calculating their next move, knowing that the wrong step could cost them more than just public opinion. It could cost them their careers, their friendships, and the legacies they have worked for years to build. And yet, for those watching this unfold, the most tantalizing question remains: how much of this is true, and how much is the invention of a gossip-hungry internet that thrives on drama like this? The storm reached its peak when an unverified but widely shared audio recording surfaced online, allegedly capturing a tense late-night phone call between Alicia and a close confidant, where she could be heard saying she was done playing nice, and that certain people were about to see the side of her they never imagined, and whether the audio was real or manufactured by internet. Mischief makers had injected a fresh surge of adrenaline into the story, because now the narrative shifted from a passive Alicia enduring betrayal to a calculating Alicia preparing a counterstrike. And in the days that followed, more so-called insiders claimed that she had quietly started compiling her own dossier of evidence, not just on Swizz and Lala, but on anyone in their shared social circle who might have aided or concealed the alleged affair. And if true, that meant this was no longer just a love triangle, but the beginning of a social and professional purge. And while Alicia's image has long been that of a peace-loving, soulful artist, the gossip pages now painted her as a woman sharpening knives behind the scenes, determined to control the narrative before it controlled her. And the industry began to buzz with speculation about who would take sides, because in celebrity scandals, loyalty is currency, and public alignment can make or break careers overnight. And as if on cue, reports surfaced that Swizz had been quietly removed from the production credits of a high-profile project. Alicia had been working on a move that some interpreted as symbolic revenge, while others claimed it was simply a business decision to keep the project free of distraction. And all the while, Lala seemed to be leaning into the attention, posting more glamorous photos than ever, attending events in bold, eye-catching outfits, and smiling with an air of someone who knows the world is talking about her and relishes every second of it. And if that were not enough, a tabloid alleged that Lala had been approached to do a tell-all interview for a popular streaming platform, one that would cover her life, her career, and yes, the rumors. Though the report made it clear she was still undecided on whether to go through with it, because any such interview could either vindicate her or bury her, depending on how it was received. And while all these pieces were in motion, Alicia's fans began to mobilize online, not just to defend her, but to dig deeper into the so-called evidence linking Swizz and Lala. And one particularly viral thread claimed to have identified a pattern of both of them attending the same private events, often documented in background shots on other celebrities' social media pages. And though these posts were innocuous on their own, when stitched together, they created a timeline that some called undeniable proof of a long-running secret relationship. And the thread even suggested that this alleged connection might have predated Alicia and Swizz's marriage altogether, a claim so explosive that it reignited older rumors about how Alicia and Swizz got together in the first place. And that brought us full circle to the irony many fans pointed out, which was that if Alicia had once been the other woman in Swizz's life, was it really so shocking that history might be repeating itself? And yet, even in the middle of this chaos, the practical side of the story was evolving, because whispers of legal maneuvers became louder, with entertainment lawyers telling blogs that if Alicia could prove financial misconduct or image damage connected to the alleged affair, she could leverage it for a more favorable settlement in any potential divorce proceedings. And to complicate matters further, another rumor began circulating that Swizz had already moved out of their shared home and into a sleek Manhattan apartment allegedly purchased under an LLC, making it harder to trace ownership. And the fact that property records showed such a purchase only added to the sense that every move in this saga was deliberate, strategic, and designed to prepare for whatever was coming next. And as the weeks passed, the scandal showed no signs of slowing down. If anything, it deepened with new layers as anonymous sources popped up claiming there were more receipts yet to be revealed from Candid. Photos to private messages to third-party testimonies, and each claim, it's like tossing gasoline onto a fire that the public could not stop watching, and mainstream outlets that had once avoided the story began cautiously covering it under the guise of discussing celebrity culture and media ethics, which only served to amplify it further. And in a world where perception often matters more than truth, it seemed that all three figures were trapped in an unending loop of speculation, interpretation, and strategic silence, and that silence became more haunting with each passing day because the absence of a clear statement from any of them allowed the public to build their own versions of the truth, versions that were often more dramatic and damaging than reality could ever be. And then came the charity gala, where all three were said to be on the guest list, and the sheer anticipation of seeing them in the same room had social media buzzing for days before the event. And when the night arrived, the photographers were ready. The live streams were rolling, and every move was dissected in real time. Alicia arrived first, stunning in a sleek black gown but with an expression that could freeze glass. Swizz showed up an hour later, smiling, but notably keeping his distance from her, and Lala appeared even later, glowing in a red dress that demanded attention. And while no public confrontation happened, the mere visual of the three in the same venue sent the internet into meltdown, with fan-made clips looping their entrances side by side as if it were a boxing match weigh-in. And while that night passed without fireworks, it felt less like a resolution and more like the calm before a storm, because the power players behind this last show and those who thrive on celebrity drama are convinced that the real shockwaves are yet to come, the kind that could turn whispered allegations into career-altering revelations. And perhaps the most unsettling part of all is that none of them seem in a hurry to end it, because in the twisted world of fame, scandal can destroy, but it can also transform. And in this triangle of silence, style, and suspicion, the game is still being played, and every fan, every hater, every gossip blogger is just waiting for the next move. And now that you've seen how deep this rabbit hole goes, you have to ask yourself, is this just another celebrity love triangle blown out of proportion by the media? Or are we witnessing the early stages of one of the most calculated and public implosions in modern Hollywood history? Because whether you believe Alicia is the victim of betrayal or the mastermind of her own redemption arc, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. And when the next bombshell drops, it could change the way we see all three of them forever. But here's the thing I want to hear from you. What do you think is going on behind the scenes? Is this about love, lust, loyalty, or something even more strategic? And who do you think will make the next move? Alicia, Swizz, or Lala? Drop your theories in the comments below, and let's see whose prediction comes true. And if you want to stay ahead of the drama, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications, because when the truth comes out, you'll want to say you heard it here first. This is the kind of story that keeps evolving, and you don't want to miss a second of it.